Just when you think you have Phil Parkinson's plan figured out, the script gets flipped on its head. We aren't talking about a new multi-million-pound signing walking through the door at the racecourse ground. No, this is something far more significant. This is about the heart and soul of the squad coming back from the dead right when the season reaches its boiling point. We have been scratching our heads, looking at the squad lists, looking at the injury table, and wondering how the gaffer is going to navigate this brutal championship schedule. You look at the fixture list, you look at the intensity, and you start to worry. But then, the news drops, and it changes absolutely everything. It's not just one player, it's an entire cavalry charge. We are talking about names that have been off the team sheet for way too long. Names that carry weight. And the timing? It is absolutely surgical. Just as we are coming off two massive results to start the year, the reinforcements are arriving. But here's the twist. It's not just that they are fit, it's a bizarre, almost overlooked rule in the championship that is about to give Wrexham a massive, unfair advantage for the next few weeks. You want to know why the rest of the league should be terrified?
Here is where it gets technical. But stick with me, because this is where Parkinson plays his masterstroke. You know the rules, we all know the rules. In the championship, you are handcuffed. You are shackled to that 25-man squad limit. It is a nightmare for managers. You have to pick your soldiers at the start of the season, and if someone huge gets injured, tough luck. You can't just slot someone else in unless you deregister a player. It's brutal. It's unforgiving. But January is the Wild West. For this 1 month, that 25-man rule, it goes straight out of the window. It vanishes. It doesn't exist. Between New Year's Day and the closing of the transfer window, every single contracted player at the club is eligible to play. Everyone is in the reckoning. It is a free-for-all. Think about what that means for a second. Phil Parkinson doesn't have to make the hard choice yet. He doesn't have to sit there sweating over a spreadsheet, deciding which club legend to cut to make room for a returning star. Not yet. For the next few weeks, he can unleash the full might of the roster. He can rotate, he can experiment, and he can bring players back into the fold who have been ghosts for months. And the gaffer knows exactly how big this is. He's already confirmed it. He is looking at this window not just as a chance to buy, but as a chance to unleash the players who were forced to watch from the stands because of red tape and injury lists. This loophole is the secret weapon Wrexham needs right now. It is a bureaucratic miracle. But who are we actually talking about here? Because having a loophole is useless if you don't have the weapons to use it. And oh boy, do we have weapons returning.
This is the one that hits you right in the gut. If you have followed this team, if you understand the DNA of this midfield, you know exactly who I am talking about. Andy Cannon. Let's be real for a second. Do you remember the pain of February? That 2-1 win at Mansfield Town? We got the points, sure, but the cost was astronomical. Seeing Cannon go down, hearing the news, a ruptured ACL. That is the 3 letters no football fan and certainly no player ever wants to hear. ACL. It's a sentence. It's a mountain to climb that breaks lesser players. He has been out for almost a year. Think about the mental fortitude that takes. Watching the lads get promoted, watching the celebrations, watching the struggles, all from the physio room. Grinding, rep after rep, day after day. It is a lonely road. But here's the news that will make every Wrexham fan want to run through a brick wall. Andy Cannon is back in full training. And it gets better. He wasn't just training, he was with the travelling party for the opening 2 games of 2026. He was there at Ewood Park when we smashed Blackburn 2-0. He was there at Pride Park for that gritty 2-1 win over Derby County. He wasn't in the matchday squad, no, but he was there. He is smelling the grass again. He is in the dressing room. Parkinson has confirmed it. Cannon is coming back into the picture this month. Can you imagine the lift that gives the dressing room? It's like signing a brand new £5 million midfielder for free. A player who knows the system, who knows the passion of the racecourse, and who has been hungry, starving for football for nearly 12 months. The engine room is about to get a serious upgrade. But he isn't the only big name making a comeback.
If Cannon is the engine, we need to talk about the spark. We need to talk about the magic. Because the injury list didn't just take our legs, it took our creativity. Elliot Lee. The man is an icon. There is no other word for it. But knee surgery is no joke. When you rely on sharp turns, on quick thinking, on dropping into those pockets of space where defenders are terrified to go, your knees are your livelihood. Losing Lee was a blow that sent shivers down the spine of the racecourse. We saw Jay Rodriguez step up. The veteran came in, replaced Lee on the squad list last month and did a job. That's what pros do. But there is a different feeling when Elliot Lee is on the pitch. The atmosphere changes, the expectation changes. And now, Parkinson has dropped the bombshell. Elliot Lee is closing in on a return. He's recovering well. He's coming back into the fold. This creates a scenario that is absolutely mind-blowing. We have Jay Rodriguez who is fit. We have Elliot Lee coming back. In a normal month, under normal rules, Parkinson might have to choose. He might have to make a heartbreaking decision on who gets that squad number. But because of this January rule waiver, we don't have to choose. Not yet. We can have our cake and eat it too. We can ease Lee back in without sacrificing Rodriguez. We can play them both if the game demands it. It is a tactical luxury that Wrexham simply hasn't had all season. It's not just about having bodies, it's about having quality. It's about looking at the bench and seeing match winners instead of academy kids making up the numbers.
We cannot ignore the back line. You don't win games in the Championship just by scoring, you win them by surviving the onslaught. And we have been thin, dangerously thin. Remember Middlesbrough, October 25th, the 1-1 draw? Lewis Brunt went off with that thigh injury and we haven't seen him since. That's months of a key defensive option stripped away. In a league as physical as this, losing a defender like Brunt is like losing a pillar of your house. You might stay standing, but things start to creak. And then there is Danny Ward, omitted from the squad list for the first half of the season, sidelined, forgotten by some maybe, never by the gaffer. Parkinson listed them all off like he was reading a grocery list of pure talent. Andy Cannon, Lewis Brunt, Danny Ward, Elliot Lee and Aaron James. They are all coming back. Do you realise what this does for the training ground intensity? Suddenly the starters aren't comfortable. Suddenly the guy who thought his shirt was safe looks over his shoulder and sees Lewis Brunt fully fit and flying into tackles. He sees Danny Ward banging in goals in practice. He sees Andy Cannon running box to box like a man possessed. That raises the level. That intensity is what wins you points. It's what turns draws into wins. It's what turns a mid-table finish into a playoff push. The injury situation, which looked like a crisis a few months ago, is now looking like our biggest strength.
So why does this matter right now? Why is this news breaking today so critical? Because Friday night, under the lights, the racecourse ground, the FA Cup, Nottingham Forest. This isn't just a kickabout. This is the Premier League coming to town. This is the kind of night Wrexham lives for. And you cannot go into a game against Nottingham Forest with a skeleton crew. You cannot go into a battle like that with players who are running on fumes. We have just played Blackburn. We have just played Derby. 2 massive away wins to start 2026. The legs are heavy, the adrenaline is high, but the fatigue is real. Having these 5 players available, even if it's just for 20 minutes off the bench, even if it's just to provide cover so we can rest the key starter, is the difference between a glorious cup upset and a heavy defeat.
Parkinson knows this. He is looking at Forrest and he's licking his lips because now he has options. He can look at the tactical board and actually move pieces around. He isn't forced into a corner. Imagine the roar at the racecourse if Andy Cannon steps onto the pitch against Forrest. Imagine the noise if Elliot Lee starts warming up down the touchline. That energy transfers to the stands, and from the stands to the players, it becomes a cauldron.
Now I know what you're thinking. Rodrigo, this sounds too good to be true. Where is the catch? The catch is coming. The catch is February 1st. Right now, Parkinson is saying the more the merrier, and he's right. For January, it's a party. But when the window closes, the grim reaper of the squad list returns. The 25-man rule comes back into effect. Parkinson is going to have to make some brutal calls. If everyone stays fit, and that's a big if, he's going to have to look some very good players in the eye and tell them they aren't registered for the second half of the season. That is the darker side of this boost. It creates massive competition, yes, but it also creates pressure. Every player returning from injury knows they aren't just playing for match fitness, they are playing for their survival in the squad. They have a few weeks to prove to the gaffer that they are indispensable. Andy Cannon has to prove his knee holds up. Elliot Lee has to prove the magic is still there. Danny Ward has to prove he can offer something different. It is a pressure cooker, but diamonds are made under pressure, right? Let's step back and look at the big picture here. We're in January 2026. We have started the year with back-to-back away wins at Blackburn and Derby. That is 6 points on the road in the Championship. That is form that gets you promoted. That is form that tells the world Wrexham isn't here to make up the numbers. And now, at the peak of this form, we are injecting 5 quality players back into the veins of the team. This is incredible management. It is incredible timing. Most clubs are desperate in January, overpaying for mercenaries who don't care about the badge. Wrexham, we are promoting from within. We are bringing back warriors who have bled for this club. The FA Cup tie against Forest is huge, but the league campaign is the main event. And with this depth, with this massive boost as the headlines are calling it, Phil Parkinson has been handed the keys to the kingdom. The 25-man rule is gone for now. The shackles are off. I want to see Andy Cannon flying into tackles. I want to see Elliot Lee threading needles. I want to see the racecourse absolutely bouncing on Friday night. The boost is confirmed. The players are ready. The question is, are you ready for what comes next? Because if we beat Forest with this returning squad, the roof is going to come off. What a time to be a Red Dragon. Bring on the rest of the season.